They don't say it out loud, but they watch you like someone trying to decipher a code that shouldn't exist in the first place. Because the truth is, you move through life with a level of inner strength that doesn't match the chapter you've lived or the battles you've survived. You shouldn't be this steady. You shouldn't be this composed. You shouldn't be this sharp, this emotionally intelligent, this focused. Yet here you are, a walking contradiction to everything they assumed you'd collapse under. They keep trying to make sense of your rise, your grit, your power, your calm responses, your smart decisions, your unbothered reactions, and it gets confusing for them. Because every time they think they understand you, you shift again. Every time they think they've mapped you out, you elevate again. Every time they think they've reached your limit, you break past it like it was never a limit to begin with. And it drives them wild. People don't understand how someone who's been through so much can operate with so much discipline, clarity, and maturity. They don't get how someone who's had knives thrown at their back can still speak with respect, still move with integrity, still hold a calm tone, still walk with quiet self-respect. They don't get how you learned to keep your emotions under control when others your age or in your situation would have fallen apart. They don't understand how you built so much inner stability without anyone holding your hand, without anyone guiding you, without someone cheering for you behind the scenes. They don't get how someone who was doubted, dismissed, underestimated, or even betrayed still managed to walk forward as if those wounds became armor instead of anchors. You have this effect on people. They observe you like they're trying to catch the moment you break, but you don't. They expect you to lose focus, but you don't. They expect you to lash out, but you don't. They expect you to give up, but you move even smarter. Because you've reached a point where you don't operate from pain anymore. You operate from precision. You don't speak impulsively. You speak with intention. You don't react emotionally. You respond strategically. And people who operated around you based on your old self, your old patterns, your old wounds, they're confused now. Because that version of you doesn't exist anymore. You built a stronger version, a wiser version. A version that doesn't get manipulated by flattery or guilt. A version that doesn't fall for drama or pressure. A version that doesn't lose direction because of noise around them. A version that refuses to shrink just to make someone else feel comfortable. Your energy itself is different now. You don't chase. You don't cling. You don't beg for understanding. You don't explain yourself unless you choose to. People feel that. People pick up on it. People see it in how you carry yourself, in how you take pauses before responding, in how you protect your peace, like it's a private treasure only the worthy should ever get near. They notice how you're no longer available for situations that drain you, conversations that lead nowhere, people who come with chaos, or environments that don't return the energy you give. You've grown into someone who knows their value without needing validation, someone who knows their worth without needing reminders, someone who knows their path without needing approval. And the wildest part? This version of you wasn't built through praise. It wasn't built through comfort. It wasn't built because people supported you. It was built because you had moments where you had no one. Moments where you were forced to analyze yourself deeper. Moments where you had to rebuild your identity. Moments where you had to decide whether you'd let pain shape you or sharpen you. And you chose the path that most people avoid. You chose to grow. You chose to heal. You chose to change direction instead of repeating patterns. You chose to confront your own flaws instead of projecting them. You chose emotional maturity, even when it meant losing people who preferred the old you, because they could control the old you. You chose self-respect, even when it meant standing alone. You chose to walk away without creating a scene. You chose peace over attention. You chose growth over comfort. You chose discipline over distractions. And that's exactly why you're seen as next-level badass now. Because you earned this version of yourself. You didn't inherit it. You didn't borrow it. You didn't copy it. You built it through trials. Most people wouldn't survive with their mind intact. You built it through experiences that forced emotional evolution. You built it through heartbreak, disappointment, self-reflection, and 1,000 moments where giving up would have been easier. You built it through nights where you questioned everything, including your own strength. But you didn't fold. You didn't surrender to fear, to confusion, to loneliness. You kept going. And what you built in silence is now showing itself so loudly that people can't help but wonder how you became this version of yourself. There's a level of magnetism around you now. People don't know if they should admire you, fear you, desire you, or keep their distance. Some want to get closer. Some want to decode you. Some want to learn from you. Some want to copy you. Some want to compete with you. Some want to destroy what they can't reach. And some are attracted to you in ways they don't understand because your energy carries depth. The kind of depth that only comes from someone who's fought their way through internal battles and came out with clarity instead of chaos. You have this presence now. A presence that enters a room before you speak. A presence that makes people sit up straighter when you walk near them. A presence that feels grounded, controlled, and powerful. A presence that makes even confident people hesitate or rethink their approach. But what they don't know is that your presence is simply the reflection of the private work you've done. The emotional labor, the self-discipline, the identity rearranging, the spiritual reflection, the mental strengthening, the self-awareness that you cultivated alone. And the interesting part? People who try to judge your life from the outside don't understand the inner transformation you've gone through. They only see your actions, not your evolution. They see your confidence, not the insecurities you destroyed. They see your calm, not the anxiety you overcame. They see your discipline, not the temptations you fought. They see your strength, not the nights you held yourself together. They see your boundaries, not the betrayals that taught you why you needed them. They see your progress, but they don't see the sacrifices that made it possible. This is why people stare at you with that strange curiosity. You don't match the version they created in their mind. You don't match the assumptions they made. You don't match the limitations they tried to place on you. And it confuses them because you don't move like someone who was shaped by other people's opinions. You move like someone shaped by their own decisions. You move like someone who isn't influenced by pressure. You move like someone who knows exactly who they are and exactly where they're going. There are people in your environment right now who feel a strange mix of admiration and discomfort around you. They respect your elevation, but they're unsettled by it because it makes them confront their own lack of discipline. They admire your growth, but it threatens their sense of superiority. They're drawn to you, but intimidated by how unaffected you are by their presence. They want access to your energy, but they know they can't step to you with anything less than authenticity now. And that scares them, because they're used to people who tolerate inconsistency. They're used to people who seek approval. They're used to people who shrink. But you're not that type. And whether you see it or not, someone specific has been watching you more intensely than others. Someone who can't understand how you stay so composed. Someone who can't understand how you've grown without their involvement. Someone who stepped back but now feels the pull to come forward again. Someone who thought you'd struggle without them, but now sees you thriving without needing them at all. And it's doing something to them internally. They feel this mix of regret, longing, confusion, and an unexplainable urge to reconnect. They feel drawn to you because your energy evolved. They feel drawn to you because you mastered yourself. They feel drawn to you because you've become the type of person whose presence demands respect without you having to ask for it. This is where your story gets even more interesting, because the path ahead of you is starting to widen. You're stepping into a space where your confidence is no longer defensive, it's natural. Your boundaries are no longer reactions, they're standards. Your focus is no longer survival, it's expansion. And the people around you are sensing it. Some are impressed, some are confused, some are intimidated, and some are preparing to approach you, thinking they can benefit from your energy without giving anything in return. But you're not the type to fall into those traps anymore. You've grown too wise, too observant, too intuitive. And now, as your environment shifts, as your influence strengthens, as your self-awareness expands, something even more powerful is taking shape beneath the surface. Something that will completely alter the way certain people interact with you. Something that will change the dynamic of your relationships, your opportunities, your direction. Because you're no longer someone people can easily predict, manage, read, or box into their expectations. You've become the type of person who forces others to adjust themselves when they stand in your presence. Because you're no longer operating from your older patterns, older fears, older insecurities. You've stepped into a mental and emotional posture that demands people rise to meet you, or step out of the way entirely. And what's fascinating now is that they're feeling it before you even speak, before you even act, before you even reveal your plans. It's in the way you carry yourself, in the way you look at situations differently, in the way you don't attach yourself to outcomes anymore. You walk into a room with a presence that's grounded, sharp, and elevated without trying to prove anything. And that alone is creating a shift people weren't prepared for. It's not just that you've grown, it's that you've grown in a direction no one expected. You didn't just develop new strengths. You eliminated weaknesses that people thought they could rely on. You cut off access points they used to exploit. You stopped reacting to triggers that once controlled you. You broke free from little patterns that once gave them hints about your mindset. And now, they see nothing they can predict, nothing they can manipulate, nothing they can weaponize against you. That unpredictability is intimidating. It forces people to watch you more carefully, speak to you more cautiously, handle you with more respect, because they know one wrong move could expose their real intentions. Your new presence feels like a mirror that reflects exactly who people are. And that's why so many are acting differently around you. Some admire you deeply, some fear you quietly, some study you obsessively, some envy you silently, and some don't know whether to align with you or distance themselves from you, because your new energy disrupts every smaller energy around you. You've become someone who makes people question themselves, their confidence, their motives, their competence, their value. Because when someone sees you rising faster than expected, evolving faster than predicted, adjusting faster than anyone assumed, it creates a psychological pressure that exposes where they stand in comparison. People who once thought they were ahead now feel behind. People who expected you to stay stuck now see you moving in directions they can't follow. People who overlooked you now feel foolish. People who underestimated you now feel threatened. And people who pretended not to notice you now can't look away. This version of you has become a living reminder that growth can be quiet, but still destructive. Destructive to ego, destructive to assumptions, destructive to hierarchies people built in their heads. And the reason your presence is hitting them so hard now is because you're no longer responding from that old emotional base. Your reactions have changed. Your choices have changed. Your standards have changed. You don't chase. You don't prove. You don't explain. You don't shrink. You don't settle. You don't tolerate low effort, low energy, or low integrity. This creates a psychological shift in the people around you, because when they interact with you now, they feel the weight of your discernment. They feel your boundaries before you speak. They feel your confidence before you make a move. They feel your clarity even when you're silent. And this shift is making certain people uncomfortable, not because you've done anything wrong, but because they realize they no longer have the influence over you they once had. They can't pull you into their drama. They can't trap you in emotional loops. They can't use guilt, pressure, or fear to get a reaction. They can't make you accept excuses. They can't breadcrumb you with effort. They can't manipulate you with mixed signals. They can't distract you from your goals. You've become immune to old tactics. And when you become immune, people either evolve with you or expose themselves, trying to drag you backward. Many of the shifts you're seeing now are people revealing who they truly are under the pressure of your growth. You've entered a phase where your value is undeniable, not because you're trying to prove it, but because you embody it effortlessly. You move with a kind of internal stability that people can feel, a calm but powerful confidence that says, you know exactly who you are and where you're going. And that scares those who are still trying to find themselves. It frustrates those who wanted you dependent on them. It angers those who benefited when you doubted yourself. It confuses those who assumed they understood you. And it motivates those who truly respect you. Your growth has become a filter. People are sorting themselves without you saying a word. What's even more powerful is that your intuition has sharpened. You can read people faster. You can sense intentions quicker. You can feel the difference between someone who's genuine and someone who's pretending. You can see past words into energy. And because you understand more, you tolerate less. You don't have space for emotional immaturity, manipulation, inconsistency, or half-hearted connections. You're not interested in being around people who drain you, distract you, or diminish your potential. You want alignment, depth, ambition, integrity, and nothing less. This new level of clarity is reshaping your environment because you're no longer matching the energy around you. You're raising the standard, and anyone who can't keep up naturally falls away. But here's the part that's becoming even more interesting. Someone out there is watching this transformation in real time. They see how you've shifted. They notice how much more attractive you've become, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, energetically. Your confidence is drawing them in. Your discipline is inspiring them. Your resilience is intriguing them. Your unpredictability is making them obsessed. There's someone who used to underestimate you, or someone who pretended they didn't care, or someone who acted cold to protect their own vulnerability, and now they're realizing they misread you completely. They thought you were easy to forget, easy to replace, easy to decode. But now they're seeing the layers they never bothered to look for. They're seeing the depth they weren't prepared to handle. And they're realizing that the version of you they knew was only a fraction of what you were becoming. Now they're analyzing everything: your words, your behavior, your silence, your progress, your distance. They're overthinking every interaction because they can feel you slipping out of reach. They can feel you leveling up in a way that makes them question whether they still have a place in your life. They can feel the shift in your standards, and they're trying to decide whether they're willing to rise to meet them, or whether they're too afraid to even try. There's a tension building inside them because they know if they don't make a move soon, they'll lose their chance entirely. They're watching your growth with equal parts: admiration, regret, desire, and fear. But you're not waiting on anyone. You're not slowing down. You're not bending your standards. You're not compromising your identity for the sake of comfort or connection. You're stepping into opportunities that weren't available to the old version of you. You're entering rooms you used to dream about. You're attracting attention you never used to receive. You're stepping into alignment with things that match your potential, not your past. And the momentum you're building now is leading you into a phase where you won't even have to announce your wins. They'll speak for themselves. People are watching you glow up in ways they didn't think were possible for you. They're noticing the small details: the discipline in your choices, the clarity in your speech, the calmness in your energy, the strength in your boundaries. They're noticing how people respond to you differently now, how your presence carries more weight, how your voice commands more respect, how your decisions have more intention behind them. They're realizing you've become someone whose life is moving forward, whether anyone supports you or not. And what's coming next is going to intensify this shift even further. Because there's a major turning point forming in the near future. Not a dramatic event, not a sudden explosion, but a compound effect of every internal upgrade you've been making. It's something that will solidify this new phase you're stepping into. Something that will pull you into a higher level of influence, opportunities, and recognition. Something that will make your growth impossible to ignore. Something that will change the way people navigate around you. Because you're becoming someone who doesn't just move differently. You're becoming someone who alters the environment simply by being present in it. And as this turning point approaches, you'll notice more signs that your energy is expanding, more eyes on you, more reactions to you, more unsolicited attention, more people projecting onto you, more people testing your boundaries, more people wanting access but not knowing how to earn it, more people feeling drawn to you without understanding why, and more people exposing their discomfort as they realize they can't control you, contain you, or predict you. This is where the next chapter begins to shape itself. This is where your identity aligns with your purpose. This is where you shift from reacting to life to directing it. This is where you stop walking into rooms wondering how you'll fit and start walking into rooms knowing you're the one who changes the atmosphere. This is where your presence becomes a force, Your decisions become sharper, your influence becomes stronger, and your path becomes clearer. And soon, very soon, you're going to step into something that permanently elevates you beyond the version of yourself people were comfortable with. A moment, an opportunity, a realization, a connection, a breakthrough. Something that will push you into a domain where you finally feel like you're operating at your true capacity. And the moment you step into that space, everything around you begins to rearrange itself. People who once felt close suddenly feel distant, not because you changed who you are, but because your new level exposes the gaps they ignored within themselves. They start to sense that the ground is shifting, that you're no longer reachable in the ways they were used to, that your energy has transitioned into something sharper, clearer, harder to influence. It's like you're walking through life with a new kind of authority, one that doesn't need to be announced or explained. It's simply understood. This next phase pulls you into environments that match your strength instead of appealing to your weakness. You're no longer attracted to chaos, confusion, or inconsistency. You're drawn toward clarity, direction, and intentionality. And because of that, the way you interact with people changes too. You're no longer impressed by surface-level confidence. You're more aware of who's real, who's performing, who's hiding, and who's genuine. You've gained a kind of inner intelligence that makes manipulation nearly impossible. People feel it when they speak to you, that you can see through their excuses, their exaggerations, their hidden motives. And this is exactly why certain people are getting nervous. Because as you elevate, their inability to keep up becomes more noticeable. But that's the beauty of this transformation. You're no longer shrinking to make anyone comfortable. You're no longer diluting yourself to keep the peace. You're no longer pretending you're not evolving just to maintain familiar connections. You have stepped into a version of yourself that demands alignment, not tolerance. And the moment you start aligning with your true capacity, the world mirrors that back to you. New people start gravitating toward you, not because you tried to attract them, but because your growth created a frequency they can feel from a distance. They're drawn to your discipline, your strength, your clarity, the way you've rebuilt yourself piece by piece, without seeking validation for any of it. They can sense that you've done the internal work most people avoid, and that alone places you in a category very few ever reach. What's even more powerful is that you no longer fear being seen. You're not hiding your ambition anymore. You're not downplaying your intelligence. You're not apologizing for your standards. You're not holding back your voice. You've realized that stepping into your full capacity doesn't isolate you. It places you exactly where you were always meant to be. It's not arrogance, it's internal alignment. It's owning the truth that you've earned your strength, your clarity, your confidence, your capabilities, and people feel that authenticity in every move you make. But here's the part that's going to shock certain individuals. The moment you reach this new level, you start attracting the kind of people who once ignored you, dismissed you, or saw you as background energy. Now they're noticing you. Now they're interested in you. Now they're replaying their previous interactions, realizing they misjudged you. They were expecting you to plateau, to remain predictable, to stay accessible. Instead, you've become someone who's outgrown the environments they're still trying to impress. The contrast is uncomfortable for them because it forces them to confront their own stagnation. And while they're wrestling with that discomfort, someone else entirely different is watching you from a distance. Someone who sees you clearly. Someone who respects your journey. Someone who feels drawn toward the intensity and depth you carry now. This is not someone who wants to control you or reduce you. This is someone who feels that your rise matches something inside them. Someone who sees you not as a challenge, but as a match. Someone who isn't intimidated by your confidence, your boundaries, your intelligence, your vision. They see your strength as something to admire, not something to compete with. And the moment they enter your path, you'll feel a shift, not because they complete you, but because they match the level you've elevated to. But you're not rushing into anything. You're not searching for approval, attachment, or distraction. You've developed a kind of emotional discipline that makes you selective. You're moving with purpose. You're choosing people based on alignment, not impulse. You crave depth, not confusion. You crave honesty, not performance. You crave reciprocity, not pressure. And this new level of self-respect is shaping your next steps, your next decisions, your next connections. You're becoming someone who no longer reacts to energy. You set the tone. You no longer absorb external chaos. You neutralize it. You no longer get caught in situations below your level. You walk away before they drain you. This is how you maintain your momentum. This is how you protect your mental clarity. This is how you ensure that your elevation continues without interruption. And because of this, the opportunities coming next aren't random. They're aligned with your growth. They're designed to stretch you further, to place you in positions where you influence outcomes, not follow them. You're entering a period where your work gets recognized without you broadcasting it, where people speak your name in rooms you've never entered, where the efforts you invested in silence begin returning results that surprise even you, where your inner transformation produces outer rewards. And the more you step into this, the more natural it begins to feel, not forced, not external, just aligned. And here's what's emerging now, a deeper awareness of your own strength. You're realizing you don't need validation to trust your decisions. You don't need reassurance to continue moving forward. You don't need anyone to approve your path. You don't need to prove your worth. You've released that older version of you who needed people to understand you. Now you understand yourself, and that is enough. This self-understanding becomes the foundation for everything you're about to build. You'll notice this shift in subtle ways first. The things that used to drain you now feel irrelevant. The people who once triggered you no longer have access to your emotions. The situations that once confused you now appear simple and predictable. You walk through environments with an awareness that keeps you grounded, observant, untouchable. It's not that the world became easier, it's that you became stronger, sharper, harder to influence, harder to mislead. This new level of clarity is what frees you. This is what allows you to move with intention instead of reacting out of habit. And the moment you start living this way, life begins opening doors that were previously closed. Not because you didn't deserve them before, but because you weren't in the mindset to walk through them. Opportunities favor people who move with direction. Connections form around people who know their worth. Progress accelerates for people who are no longer controlled by fear. You're stepping into that category now. The category of individuals who shape their future consciously instead of surviving their past unconsciously. And the more you step into this, the more the world begins to respond. You'll begin attracting chances that require the strongest version of you. Leadership roles, deeper partnerships, strategic alliances, elevated environments, conversations that challenge you, paths that expand your abilities. These aren't small shifts. They're major indicators that your life is upgrading because you upgraded internally first. And the moment you accept that this is where you belong, the faster things begin to align. You stop questioning whether you're ready. You stop doubting whether you're capable. You stop entertaining thoughts that limit your potential. You step into rooms with the understanding that you're meant to be there. You're meant to contribute, to grow, to influence, to evolve. And as this happens, you'll notice people treating you differently. Some will admire you more openly. Some will respect you more deeply. Some will approach you with greater caution. And some will distance themselves because they can't handle the version of you who knows their worth. This is natural. Growth always alters your environment. But instead of losing anything important, you're simply making room for what matches your higher level. You're no longer accepting connections that hold you back. You're no longer repeating cycles that drain you. You're no longer allowing access to individuals who haven't earned it. This is how your elevation becomes permanent, by protecting yourself from anything that lowers your standards. But what's even more interesting is that someone from your past, someone who once overlooked you or misread you, is beginning to feel the weight of your evolution in a way they can't escape. They recognize that you're no longer the same person they thought they understood. They can sense the distance, the growth, the transformation, and it's creating a tension inside them. Not anger, not resentment, but regret. Regret for not valuing you earlier. Regret for not appreciating you fully. Regret for not seeing your potential when it was still unfolding. They're watching the person you've become, and the realization is hitting them hard. They lost access to someone who was always going to become extraordinary. Meanwhile, a new presence is forming in your path. Someone who sees you clearly from the beginning. Someone who respects your strength. Someone who understands your depth. Someone who recognizes your worth without needing to see your history. This is a connection that aligns with your new level. A connection that matches your ambition, your mindset, your evolution. And when it arrives, you'll feel the difference immediately. Not because it overwhelms you, but because it fits. It matches. It aligns. It brings clarity instead of confusion, support instead of pressure, balance instead of chaos. This next chapter of your life will not be marked by settling. It will be marked by alignment. You're entering a phase where everything becomes more intentional. Your relationships, your ambitions, your habits, your routines, your decisions. You'll feel a pull toward things that expand you rather than distract you. You'll start prioritizing what nourishes your growth rather than what temporarily entertains your emotions. You'll think ahead, move strategically, and operate with a level of self-control that makes your path smoother, clearer, and more powerful. This is the level where you begin acting like the person you always wanted to become, and the world begins responding accordingly. This final stage of your transformation isn't loud, it isn't chaotic, it isn't dramatic. It's precise, structured, grounded, intentional. You're not rising out of desperation anymore. You're rising out of alignment. You're not searching for a lifeline. You're building a foundation. You're not looking for validation. You're creating your own path. And as you continue evolving, you'll notice something important. Life starts feeling easier, not because the challenges disappear, but because you're operating with more resilience. more understanding, more purpose. You're no longer shaken by every setback. You're no longer thrown off by every obstacle. You adapt faster. You recover faster. You decide faster. This is what true growth looks like. And when the moment arrives, the moment when the breakthrough finally becomes visible, when the opportunity finally lands, when the recognition finally reaches you, you'll realize something that ties this entire script together. You never needed external permission to rise. You only needed internal clarity. And now that you have it, there is nothing that can pull you back into the person you used to be. You've stepped into your capacity. You've stepped into your direction. You've stepped into your identity. And from here on out, everything you touch will carry the mark of someone who rebuilt themselves with intention, discipline, and unshakable self-respect. Well, well, well. You're not going to believe this because the energy around you right now is unlike anything you've stepped into before. There is someone specific, intentional, obsessed, digging for information on you. This is not a casual curiosity. This is not someone scrolling by your name because they were bored. This is deep digging, background pulling, document reading, question asking, trying to piece you together kind of digging. And the funniest thing about all of this is that the deeper they dig, the more unsettled they become. They expected to find someone ordinary. They expected to find someone predictable. They expected to find someone who could be played with, controlled, redirected, silenced, or used. Instead, they found gaps. Moments where you survived what should have destroyed you. Decisions you made that no one in your position should have had the clarity to make. Patterns that don't match the story they were told about you. And every new detail they uncover is causing them more panic than relief. Someone, your boss, an authority figure, someone claiming power over you, is getting exposed right now. Not by you shouting, not by you fighting, not by you demanding anything, but simply by the truth refusing to stay hidden any longer. There's paperwork, conversations, timelines, numbers and decisions that don't align. And the only way they can explain any of this is by trying to make you the problem. That was the plan. That was the strategy. Blame you, break you, remove you, then move on like nothing ever happened. But something they didn't calculate correctly was your endurance, your resilience, your insight, the part of you that doesn't fold just because someone else feels threatened by your presence. Someone is researching you because the version of you they were told about does not exist. They were told you were weak. They were told you were reactive. They were told you were reckless. They were told you were difficult. They were told you were easy to corner. They were told you were someone who would crumble if just the right pressure was applied. But none of that has happened. Instead, you did the opposite. You stood still inside yourself. You evaluated everything. You chose your responses instead of reacting impulsively. You handled everything in a way that doesn't match the file someone created about you. And now they look incompetent because nothing they predicted about you has come true. Your boss, this person who thought they had full control, is being exposed. Not by a whistleblower, not by a co-worker, not by an angry email, but by the very fact that the story they created about you is collapsing under its own weight. Someone higher than them is reviewing everything. Someone above them is asking questions they cannot answer. Someone is noticing patterns they tried to hide. And the moment they pulled up your background, your history, your records, your movements. They realized something they weren't prepared for. You're not normal. Not in the way they define normal. Not in the way they categorize people. Not in the way they expect employees or community members to behave. Your independence and intelligence are causing disruptions they weren't prepared to handle. You weren't supposed to walk away. You weren't supposed to rebuild. You weren't supposed to figure out what was happening. You weren't supposed to resist. You weren't supposed to heal. You weren't supposed to thrive. The entire setup was designed so that once you were pushed out, your life would crumble in the exact way it crumbled for every single person before you. But that didn't happen. You didn't fall apart. You didn't lose yourself. You didn't become desperate. You didn't return begging, apologizing, or accepting their false narrative. You went inward. You reorganized. You created a new path. You strengthened yourself. You refined your identity. And now they don't know what to do with that. There is something about you that they cannot read. Something about you they cannot measure. Something about you they cannot break. And that is what's driving them into this obsessive digging. They're looking for a flaw. They're looking for a crack. They're looking for evidence you did something wrong. They're looking for a way to justify what they tried to do to you. Because if they cannot justify it, they will be forced to answer for it. Someone is trying to gather enough information to turn the narrative back in their favor. But every page they flip, every piece of data they review, every name they search, every detail they study, paints you as someone who should have never been crossed, someone they should have respected, someone they should have supported instead of sabotaging, someone whose potential is far greater than what they attempted to box you into. You weren't meant for the position they assigned you. You weren't meant for the limitations they placed around you. You weren't meant for the treatment they tried to force onto you. You were meant for something much bigger, and the more they research you, the more embarrassed they become. Because now they're realizing something they never wanted to see. The person they tried to eliminate is the person they should have never underestimated. Someone in your workplace or authority structure is panicking. They can't sleep properly. They're replaying past actions, past conversations, past decisions, and they are connecting the dots they tried to ignore for months. You weren't the issue. The issue was their obsession with controlling you. The issue was their fear of your intelligence. The issue was their discomfort with how you refused to shrink yourself. The issue was their insecurity. And now those insecurities are being exposed. There's a group attached to this. A circle, a clique. People who all agreed on the same narrative about you. People who participated in the same attempt to undermine your confidence or reputation. People who thought they were playing a smart game by aligning with the boss, supporting their version of events, pushing their agenda. Now those same people are whispering. They're stepping back. They're distancing themselves. Because something came out, something undeniable, and now everyone is scrambling to protect themselves individually. Someone in authority is under review. Someone is being questioned. Someone is being evaluated. And they are trying to explain why everything they claimed about you does not match the evidence. They told people you were irresponsible. The records show the opposite. They told people you were hard to deal with. The interactions show the opposite. They told people you underperformed. The results show the opposite. They told people you deserved to be pushed out. The timeline shows the opposite. Every attempt they made to make you look unworthy has boomeranged. But what's even more disturbing for them is the realization that you recovered too fast. You adapted too quickly. You built too strongly. You grew too rapidly. You stepped into your purpose too confidently. They expected to see you fall apart. They expected to hear rumors about you struggling. They expected to witness you collapsing under pressure. Instead, they're watching you rise. This is why someone is trying to pull up your background at a deeper level than before. They're looking at your family line. They're looking at your upbringing. They're looking at your past jobs, past environments, past challenges. They are trying to find the source of your strength because they know they didn't give it to you. And that scares them. People like this believe power only comes from them. So when they encounter someone who carries power from within, they immediately become threatened. Someone higher than your boss is noticing the cracks in the story. Someone with actual authority is questioning the decisions that were made. Someone is checking timestamps, checking communications, checking behaviors, checking consequences. Someone is discovering that something was hidden, something was twisted, something was manipulated. There is also talk of a failed attempt, something that did not go according to plan, something that was supposed to push you into a corner but never reached you the way they intended, something someone tried to arrange behind your back, a setup, a trap, a situation meant to discredit you. It didn't work. It didn't land. You were too protected, too aware, too guided. And now the failure of that attempt is part of why they're digging deeper, because they need to cover their tracks. You're not normal to them, because you don't break the way others break. You don't fold the way others fold. You don't react the way others react. You don't lose yourself the way others lose themselves. Your calmness confuses them. Your focus frustrates them. Your ability to rebuild terrifies them. Your intuition exposes them. Your progress humiliates them. A sacrifice was planned, symbolic or strategic, something designed to ensure that you were removed so someone else could remain in power. But that sacrifice reversed. It didn't stick. It didn't take. It didn't follow the usual path. And now they're scrambling, because the chain reaction they expected is happening, just not in their direction. Instead of you losing everything, they're the ones losing credibility. Instead of you panicking, they're the ones staying up at night. Instead of you wondering what will happen next, they're the ones terrified of the next phone call, the next meeting, the next email. Someone involved in this is obsessively watching your updates, your progress, your posts, your work, your movement. They're trying to understand how you're still standing. They're trying to understand how you didn't collapse. They're trying to understand how you got ahead of them without ever knowing the full extent of what they planned. But someone else, someone at the top, is forming a new opinion of you. They're seeing you as someone who deserves respect, someone who deserves recognition, someone who wasn't treated fairly, someone who was targeted for reasons that don't make sense. And this person is about to make a decision that changes everything. Because now, as the last piece of information is being reviewed, as the final page of their investigation is being flipped, as the energy around you tightens into something that can't be ignored any longer, something begins that leads directly into what unfolds next, something they were never prepared for, something they didn't anticipate, something that shifts the entire direction of their plan without making a sound, without showing a signal, without giving them any warning to brace themselves. It starts with a realization they didn't expect. The deeper they dig into you, the more they uncover things that don't match what they assumed. patterns that don't align with their accusations, timelines that don't support their suspicions, behaviors that contradict every negative story whispered about you. And this is where their discomfort starts to grow, because the investigation they initiated to expose you is slowly, quietly, unmistakably turning into an investigation that exposes them. Your boss feels it first. That tightening in the chest, that shuffle of fear behind the eyes, that unspoken worry that perhaps triggering this entire search was the worst decision they ever made. Because instead of finding weaknesses in you, the people digging are finding cracks in them. Old decisions they hoped nobody remembered, choices they thought had been buried, moments of manipulation they assumed would never come to light. But when someone searches for one person, the light doesn't stay still. It spreads, it moves, it illuminates. And now that light is drifting in directions they don't want it to go. Their discomfort sharpens every time the investigators ask a question that hits a little too close. Every time someone mentions a date they'd rather forget. Every time someone asks for documents they didn't prepare beforehand. Because the truth is, they initiated a hunt without realizing hunters don't get to control where the trail leads. They don't get to decide what gets uncovered. They don't get to limit the truth once it's already moving. And while all of this unfolds, you remain the same, calm, steady, deliberate, collected. But this calmness of yours becomes the greatest threat in their eyes. Because they expected panic. They expected fear. They expected hesitation or slip-ups or self-doubt. But the more pressure they try to apply, the less you react. And this unsettles them deeply. Because when a person has nothing to hide, their energy doesn't scatter, it becomes sharper, focused, unshakable. And that is what they didn't anticipate. Your centeredness, your steadiness, your ability to hold ground even when others try to push you off it. Their attempts to corner you only expose how cornered they feel themselves. But here's the part that truly disrupts their confidence. The investigators begin noticing the contrast. They notice how stable you are versus how nervous your boss becomes. They notice how your answers are clear and consistent, while your boss's explanations keep changing. They notice how your behavior makes sense while theirs becomes increasingly contradictory. They may not say it out loud yet, but the shift in perception is happening. And once that shift begins, it's impossible to reverse. You can feel the tension building in the environment. The air around them grows heavier. Their eyes avoid certain directions. Their voice trembles in places where it used to sound firm. They start over-explaining things that nobody asked them to explain. They start volunteering information that wasn't requested. And worst of all, they begin checking on you more often than before, as if trying to read your thoughts, as if trying to predict your next move, as if scared you already know what they're trying to hide. But here's what they don't realize. You already sensed everything long before any of them knew what they were walking into. Your intuition picked up the shift. Your awareness decoded the undercurrents. Your instincts recognized the tension before it had a name. So when this investigation opened, you were not blindsided, you were prepared. Not because you expected an attack, but because the type of person you are forces others to reveal themselves. It forces the truth to surface. It forces hidden intentions to show their outlines through the cracks in their behavior. And as the digging continues, the people conducting it start noticing the one thing your boss hoped would stay buried, the pattern of targeting you, the subtle moves, the attempts to undermine your work, the quiet hostility in their decisions, The unexplained inconsistencies surrounding your evaluations and assignments, the sudden changes that made no logical sense. When these things start connecting into a pattern, the story shifts. The narrative flips. The questions begin to change direction. It's no longer, what is this person hiding? It becomes, why were they targeted in the first place? A question far more dangerous for your boss. They can feel the narrative slipping out of their hands, and this is where desperation starts to show itself. People in power panic in stages, and your boss is entering the second stage, the stage where they try to rewrite what happened, hoping someone will believe the version they're now inventing. They start rewriting old explanations. They start pretending decisions were made for reasons that never existed. They start portraying themselves as concerned or misinformed rather than manipulative or threatened. But the problem is that the more they try to twist the story, the more their actions reveal their real motives. And now, the investigators aren't just looking at you. They're observing the power dynamics around you. The subtle interactions, the tension in conversations, the inconsistencies in your boss's behavior, the paper trail that doesn't support their narrative, the emotional trail that points directly to insecurity, not leadership. They're seeing the truth that your boss worked extremely hard to hide. This investigation was never about your mistakes. It was about their fear of your capabilities. The fear of someone who is smarter than they expected, more resilient than they anticipated, more aware than they hoped, more principled than they could ever emulate. And while they thought digging into you would expose something damaging, it only exposes how intimidated they've always been by you. The team digging deeper begins to notice your strengths, your work ethic, your discipline, your consistency, your clarity, your emotional steadiness, and most importantly, your refusal to attack back or retaliate. That restraint alone makes their motives look even more suspicious, because when a person is guilty, they react impulsively. But when a person is honest, their composure speaks louder than any defense they could offer. Now the attention begins to lean in your favor, not because you pushed it there, but because truth naturally gravitates toward the person who has nothing to gain by lying. And the more this truth aligns with you, the more pressure your boss feels. Their behavior becomes even more unstable. Their fear becomes even more visible. Their voice starts cracking in places where it used to sound firm. Their decisions become rushed, disorganized, inconsistent. And this inconsistency gives investigators a subtle but unmistakable signal. Something is wrong on that side, not yours. Your boss begins trying too hard. And when people try too hard, they reveal exactly what they're trying to hide. Meanwhile, you remain unmoved, not because you're ignoring what's happening, but because you already learned something powerful long ago. When someone tries to sabotage you, their downfall is built into their actions. All you have to do is remain aligned with your truth. That alignment is your protection. That steadiness is your shield. That clarity is your advantage. And slowly, the narrative shifts again. Your co-workers notice it too. They start whispering quietly to each other, not about you, but about the boss. They start questioning decisions that once seemed unquestionable. They start revisiting moments they experienced but ignored. They begin remembering things your boss said, things your boss did, things your boss implied. And now, those memories look different. Now they see the patterns. Now they see the intentions. Now they see the insecurity in your boss that they once mistook for authority. Even people who never defended you before begin rethinking their assumptions. Your name begins shifting from the one under review to the one who is unfairly targeted. Your reputation slowly rewrites itself in real time, not with your words, but with their realization. And here's where the next phase begins. The investigators start asking questions your boss isn't prepared for. Why were certain decisions made? Why did certain opportunities get blocked? Why were certain responsibilities shifted? Why were certain false narratives encouraged? These questions hit harder than anything targeted at you. Because while your answers remain consistent and clear, your boss's answers become messy, vague, defensive. Their story keeps changing. Their memory suddenly becomes uncertain. Their reasoning becomes complicated. Their explanations grow longer, but their credibility grows smaller. This is the moment where they realize the danger they're truly in. Because now the spotlight is no longer on you, it's on them. The people digging into your background begin digging into theirs. The same intensity, the same scrutiny, the same examination, and every attempt they make to redirect attention only redirects suspicion back onto themselves. And all the while, you haven't done anything except remain grounded, honest, and aligned with who you truly are. That is the part that terrifies them the most. Because a person who is honest cannot be controlled. A person who is grounded cannot be manipulated. A person who stands firm in truth cannot be taken down by lies. And now you can feel it, the shift that signals something massive is about to unfold. Not a moment of downfall for you, but a moment of exposure for them. A moment where the truth that's been buried under their decisions finally breaks through the surface. A moment where the investigation they initiated becomes the mirror they didn't expect to face. And just as this tension reaches its peak, just as they feel the walls pressing in, just as they realize the situation is spiraling beyond their control, something begins to unfold that transitions directly into the next part. Something that will change not only how people see them, but how people see you. Something that doesn't just continue the investigation, but deepens it into territory they never wanted anyone to enter. Because now the people reviewing everything don't just want answers. They want origins. They want context. They want the reason behind the decisions that led to this situation. And the moment they shift from what happened to why was this done, the floor beneath your boss begins to shake. This is the point where the entire narrative flips. Not gradually, but sharply. The way a locked door suddenly swings open when someone finds the correct pressure point. One question, one inconsistency, one mismatched detail is all it takes for the investigators to see the pattern your boss tried to bury. And it begins with something small. An email they thought nobody would revisit, a decision they made on impulse, a comment they left in writing without realizing the weight it would carry months later. That single overlooked detail becomes the thread that unravels everything they tried to disguise. And now the people reviewing the situation start requesting things your boss hoped would never be inspected. Older records, previous reports, conversations involving decisions that affected you directly. They start tracing timelines more carefully. They start comparing actions with policies. They start checking for alignment, logic, fairness. And every time they examine something connected to you, a new crack appears in your boss's story. They can feel it. They can see it in the investigators' expressions, the way their brows tighten, the way they exchange brief glances, The way their tone becomes less neutral and more analytical. Your boss tries to interpret those small cues, but each cue tells the same truth. The people reviewing this aren't buying their narrative anymore. And this realization hits them harder than anything that has happened so far. Because the one thing they needed to maintain control was belief. They needed the investigators to believe that you were the problem. They needed them to trust the story they crafted. But now that trust is slipping through their fingers. And once trust begins to fall, it falls fast. No one in a position of oversight wants to be caught supporting the wrong person. No one wants to appear negligent. No one wants to risk endorsing someone whose motives are questionable. Your boss feels their authority shrinking with every question asked. Their tone becomes defensive. Their posture stiffens. Their responses grow longer, yet explain less. They keep insisting they were just following procedure, but every supporting document contradicts the way they used that procedure. They keep insisting they were only concerned, but concern doesn't align with the pattern of actions they took. They keep insisting they were trying to help, but nothing they did reflects help, only targeting. And now, the investigators begin bringing in people who witnessed things, people your boss forgot were in the room, people who overheard comments, people who saw the unfair treatment but chose silence back then. But silence doesn't stay loyal forever. It shifts when the truth becomes safer to support than the lie. One by one, small testimonies start surfacing. Someone mentions how your boss's attitude toward you changed after you performed better than expected. Someone else mentions the way your boss overreacted to minor mistakes you didn't even make. Another recalls moments where your boss spoke negatively about you without evidence. Another remembers when they questioned one of your assignments because it didn't match your role or skill level. These recollections don't come out aggressively. They come out quietly, cautiously. But even quiet revelations have impact when they align perfectly. And now, a picture begins forming, one your boss didn't want anyone to see. A picture where you weren't the problem. A picture where they were trying to hold you back. A picture where their decisions were fueled not by professionalism, but by fear. Fear of your intelligence, fear of your influence, fear of your growth, fear of your potential to outshine them. It becomes clearer with every passing moment, and this clarity is dangerous for them. Because now the investigators aren't just reviewing what happened, they're assessing the leadership behind it. They start evaluating how often your boss has made similar decisions. They start noticing this isn't an isolated case. They start piecing together a long pattern of insecurity disguised as authority. You can sense the shift even from a distance. There's a new weight in the environment, a new attentiveness in people's eyes, a new seriousness in their voices. You are no longer being examined, you are being considered, observed, respected. Your composure has turned into undeniable proof of your integrity. Your steadiness has become your strongest defense. Your patience has become the very reason others now see you differently. And your boss knows it. They try to compensate. They try adjusting their tone, trying to appear supportive, trying to backpedal with empty statements about miscommunication or misunderstanding. But their attempts only make things worse. Because when someone has spent so long operating from ego, their sudden attempts at humility look artificial, forced, transparent. People can tell the difference between real accountability and performative concern. And your boss's attempts scream performance. Meanwhile, the investigators start discussing among themselves whether this situation hints at deeper issues in the work environment. They start reviewing leadership choices. They start questioning how many other employees were affected. And every time they ask a question, your boss feels another piece of their image collapsing. They're no longer worried about the investigation exposing you. They're terrified it will expose them completely. And this is where the real shift begins. Not in paperwork, not in meetings, but in energy. Suddenly everyone looks at your boss differently. Not with trust, not with respect, but with wary distance. The kind of distance people keep when they're finally seeing someone's real nature. That distance grows every hour, every new detail, every contradiction. And you can feel it tightening around them like a rope they pulled themselves. And right when this momentum becomes undeniable, right when the truth begins forming into something undeniable, right when the people in charge start preparing their next round of questions, something much bigger begins moving quietly underneath the surface. The investigators, the higher-ups, the people with authority you didn't even know existed, all of them are stepping into a maze. And the maze doesn't lead where they expect. It bends, it twists, it mutates. Every pathway they trace turns into a reflection of their own missteps. Their obsession with you becomes their exposure. Every step they take into your history unearths a mirror that reflects them back with brutal clarity. You move differently, unnoticed by most, but their scrutiny has made them fragile. They panic in invisible ways. A too long pause before an answer, a slight tightening in a smile that isn't a smile. They overprepare, overthink, overreach, and it doesn't help. Every action becomes a confession, every gesture a giveaway. They are unraveling, and they don't even understand the thread pulling at them. Meanwhile, you glide through it, not calmly, not strategically. You glide because nothing can stop what's already unstoppable. The chaos they tried to manufacture. You walk through it like smoke, bending, folding, existing in the spaces they cannot reach. They think they've constructed a labyrinth to trap you. But it's a playground where every step you take amplifies their mistakes, magnifies their fear, exposes their limits. A colleague notices the discrepancy first. Small, almost imperceptible. A file doesn't match the story. A timestamp contradicts a claim. They mention it quietly, as if afraid their voice could break the spell, and suddenly the investigation fractures. The dominoes begin to fall, but they fall sideways, unpredictably. Papers shuffle, messages are reread, private conversations surface, digital footprints align in ways no one anticipated. And your boss? They can feel it. Every cell in their body knows they've stepped into a trap they didn't even see forming. Their attempts to redirect, to explain, to justify, to charm, to manipulate, they all bounce off the walls. They can't control the audience anymore. They can't even control themselves. Their voice becomes a weapon against them. Every explanation is a fracture in the image they tried to preserve. And then the absurdity starts. The absurdity of believing that someone like you could be contained. The absurdity of thinking a person who sees everything would ever be fooled by the theater of power. Your boss begins to sweat in ways that aren't visible. Tiny, internal tremors. Tiny cracks in posture, in tone, in focus. A minor oversight, something they assumed no one would notice, becomes catastrophic. They look at the world around them and realize the map they drew has already changed. Somewhere in the background, the investigators start laughing. Not out loud, not cruelly, but that kind of quiet, sharp acknowledgement of the absurdity of reality. They are watching someone crumble under their own narrative, while the person they sought to suppress moves untouched, unscathed, untraceable in the chaos. You become the axis around which every miscalculation revolves. The people around them start noticing it too. Quietly at first, then with more daring. Whispers, glances, questions that used to be buried now surface. Why was that decision made? How did that get approved? Who was this really about? The air shifts. Their comfort dissolves. They can no longer hide in authority because authority itself has become transparent. And with transparency comes exposure, and exposure is contagious. You didn't touch a thing. You didn't even act yet. You merely existed with authenticity. Every email they mismanaged, every opportunity they blocked, every subtle act of sabotage, the truth of it is illuminated by your presence alone. They begin to see that their fear of you wasn't imagined. It was real. But the fear that once held them in control now owns them entirely. Documents appear, old logs, buried messages, unnoticed timestamps, all of it suddenly aligned, a mosaic of intent that cannot be ignored. And as the investigators stitch it together, the story crystallizes. It's not about mistakes anymore. It's about design, not about coincidence, about pattern, about obsession, about the limits of ego facing someone who refuses to yield. And the bizarre thing? No one had to fight. No one had to confront. No one had to shout. The system your boss tried to command, the rules they tried to manipulate, the authority they brandished like a weapon, all of it is turning into proof of their own misjudgment. Your existence alone is dismantling the facade. They start noticing details they can't unsee. The way your work always aligned with outcomes they couldn't predict. The consistency they tried to dismiss as luck. The growth they tried to suppress. The subtle influence they assumed was accidental. Every trace of you is now a testament to the chaos they failed to control. And then a message arrives. Not official, not expected. A line of inquiry that no one thought of. A decision that no one anticipated. A call from above that flips the perspective entirely. Their world, which they tried to anchor in manipulation, begins to drift. They are not the subject. They are not the center. They are now the example. And you are the force. The unacknowledged, unstoppable, uncontainable pivot on which everything spins. Their panic, their scrambling, their calculations, they all revolve around you without them even realizing it. Every strategy they employ is feeding into your elevation. Every attempt to undermine is documenting your vindication. It becomes surreal. The absurdity of their control slipping. The subtle theatricality of watching someone unravel from the inside while remaining untouched on the outside. It's almost too precise, too ironic, too perfect. And they can feel it. Every instinct they trusted screams at them, but instinct is powerless when confronted with truth. And you are not shouting. You are not dramatizing. You are not overextending. You are merely present. Your calm is a scalpel cutting through illusion, revealing vulnerability where they thought there was strength. Every observation, every recollection, every record they tried to manipulate now aligns in a way that exposes them beyond repair. Your rise is not noisy, it's surgical. It's deliberate in the way chaos unfolds naturally when it is not restrained. And for the first time, everyone sees it. Not your achievements, not your work, not your resilience alone. They see the consequence of underestimating someone who cannot be cornered, cannot be predicted, cannot be bent. They see the power of clarity in the face of desperation. And your boss? They are left with the aftermath of a story they tried to write, now rewritten by your presence. A story of authority crumbling, of obsession failing, of ego defeated. And they understand, too late, that the very force they feared, the quiet, untouchable, unwavering integrity of someone like you, cannot be bargained with, cannot be hidden from, cannot be stopped.